We're talking the details on the Chinese National Open's prize pool, Spiritforged new pre-release kit that will come out with Set 2, and will the best of prizes cause a slight ripple in the meta? All that and more on this week's episode of The Winning Point.
Is this the first duo?
Nah, I did one with Pastry.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I think this is the first duo that I've been on, which is ironic because I've done years and years and years of podcasts with just two hosts.
Just two members?
So,
yeah.
Yeah. So really, you'd think that this would have happened with me more often, but this is the first time.
The positive with 4, we have busy lives. Sometimes, sometimes we got to take a week off, but we don't want the pod to take a week off.
That's
we
true.
Want you listeners to be able to listen to us every week, despite your best efforts.
Yes. And no matter what, you will still get The Winning Point, episode number 20, number 20, two hosts for 20. Right here, the old... This is GSTV takeover, Giant Slayer Fight Night takeover of The Winning Point here. I am Blevins. That over there. Nope, over there. It's Casanova. What's up, my friend? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm really excited. A little sneak preview. Me and Sam, our producer, are actually going to be heading up to Toronto to film a little content with some friends of ours for the release of the game pretty soon. So we'll have a lot of really cool content coming out the pipeline. I'm not going to spoil what those videos are, but just the fact that we're flying to Toronto to go film some videos for Riftbound. That's how much we love Riftbound. We're just going to fly all over the place and record videos and try and make some cool stuff. So get excited for what's coming for the channel.
Flying to the cold, harsh north. My old stomping grounds, rather. Yeah. Very close to where I grew up, the old place. Love it. But I don't have to deal with all the snow this year in the UK, which is great. But we've got a lot to talk about. But first, Cass, I've trained you well. You've heard me sell out and shill for so many years now. But now we've actually got some announcements, some of which, for you, dear listener, are very cool and important. So, Cass, take it away.
I think they're both very cool and important announcements for our dear listeners, but we'll start with the one that can directly put things in their hands. We have our very first giveaway that we're going to be doing for people who follow us on a bunch of different platforms and come take a look at the YouTube. We are giving away a Riftbound Arcane box set with the promos. You can have one of these of your very own. We are giving away 3. This is for North America only this time around. Hopefully we can maybe change that in the future, but at least for this first one, we're going to do NA only. So as you can see on the screen, if you're on the YouTube, you can follow us on Twitter, and you can follow us on Instagram, visit the YouTube, follow us on Threads, follow us on Blue Sky to have a bunch of different ways to actually enter this giveaway. And this giveaway is dropping right now as of releasing the video. So please go over to your social media of choice, find us there, and you'll be able to go ahead and enter the giveaway. And so that's our first announcement. We have our very first giveaway. It's awesome. These Arcane boxes are really cool. I've got my Chinese version one right here, and I also will be getting an English version one later. But we have a couple extras that we're going to be giving away, which is sweet. The next announcement, you've heard it already, but this is a reminder. We're going to remind you as much as possible. We are going to SCG Con Vegas to stream the $10,000 Riftbound tournament. It will be on November 23rd, but the whole crew should be there from November 21st. We will be making some content on site, so if you see us during any time during the weekend of SCG Con Las Vegas, please come say hi, take a photo, talk to us about Riftbound, maybe play some games. It'll be a lot of fun. We look forward to seeing everybody there. So those are the announcements, Blevins.
Yes.
That's all of them. It's just 2. It's just 2 announcements,
just
really.
Just 2, but they're 2 bangers.
They're great. They're great announcements.
Yeah, I know a lot of people were able to get the Arcane box sets, but I know that there are some people that didn't, or maybe some people are like, oh, I'm only going to get 1. Well, or maybe only get 2 for whatever reason and not get that play set. This may be the one that can fill your play set. Or maybe it's your first one. Maybe, who knows? I sadly, of course, can't win this one because I'm not in North America. So RIP my chances. But I luckily did already acquire mine, so don't need another one. But that's awesome. Yeah, I'm super excited. I mean, we've sort of teased and talked about there being giveaways as we've grown the show and that we've had cool stuff to give away. Well, the very first thing that Riot has allowed us to buy and acquire, we're going to give it right back into the community. So that's awesome. We've got a lot of little things to talk about, but more than I was expecting. I thought we were going to kind of be in a lull before release here.
Never.
No, not at all. We first thing we want to talk about here is the Chinese National Open pricing has been revealed here, which is really cool. So we can take a look at that pricing. I believe we talked about it on a previous episode.
We have, yeah.
Rough conversion here is about 30,000 USD in cash pricing, which is awesome. We've got Misfortune promos all the way down to top 64, and I believe there may even be participation promos or other ways to get the stamped Misfortunes. But Cass, none of that stuff matters at all compared to first place getting a literal championship ring.
It's crazy.
It's amazing.
We have talked about these physical items forever. We love them. We've talked about a ring in the past.
I literally made a prototype. I got a prototype ring made that we were going to do for a tournament. Yeah, for Fight Night.
It was for the big fight as we wanted to do a ring. Ring is so cool.
I don't have it on me. I don't know where
Riot
it is.
has done a really good job about this for a couple games, but the primary one that this reminds me of are the TFT Opens where they have the belt. The championship belt for those TFT Opens, and I think a ring for a TCG feels good. It's like classy. It's like it just goes on your hand, which is the main thing you see when you watch somebody playing a TCG is their hands playing the game. And I think a championship. Imagine the flex. The next tournament you play, you get on coverage, and you're wearing the championship ring as you're playing. That is the flex I want to see in this game. I love this so much, and I want to mention, we talked about this before. One of the reasons we talked about this before, this is the Shanghai National Open. We are co-streaming this on November 1st and 2nd on the Tournament Sideways YouTube channel. Again, we are going to be watching this. We are going to be live commentating on it, trying to not be really tired while I do it. And it's going to be a lot of fun. It was so fun to do all the co-streams before, having the community come through and watch with us. Please come hang out, watch with us again for the National Open. I think this is going to be crazy. I mean, it's the highest stakes tournament we've had yet, which, I mean, may just mean it's a lot more Kaisa, but it also might mean that some people will have some really secret tech they've been working on over the last month after the previous tournaments, and that they've been hiding and refining to make sure that they could try and win this because the stakes are so high.
Yeah, this is exactly what we've alluded to, right? Like, in the short period of time that we had the I think Dave actually called them minor tournaments, the Chinese minor tournament minors. It was a short period of time where the game had just been released and perhaps access to physical cards to change up your deck, access to test and rewards for putting in a lot of testing were not necessarily all there for everyone, right? We did definitely see a progression of the meta. We saw Master Yi decks evolve. We saw decks evolve to try to beat Master Yi. We saw Kaisa also do a lot of winning and not needing to change much because she kind of just is good out of the box. But like you said, the stakes are high. As far as I know, access to product in China is not
very
an issue.
Easy.
Like it's very accessible. In a way that we may not be saying at the very beginning of launch for English. I don't know. Yep. I'm hearing a lot of different things, actually. I'm hearing the sky is falling, but I'm also anecdotally seeing places that have a decent amount of products. So it's going to be
it might be just fine, especially with the second wave, right? It might be. There's the hope, and then
I'm hearing a lot of different things. You can always buy
Chinese cards,
you technically can do that. But stakes are high. I mean, this is again 30K total prizes. I mean, that championship ring, that's priceless right there, the first one. And I mean, and there's been a lot of time, right? There's been a lot of time to see the meta, to play in local events, to play in these city championships, which granted aren't the same format, but and we'll be getting into that in a little bit, but still able to get testing and get reps in. I know, Cass, you've mentioned that Huge has said, and you've gotten intel that some of these locals in China are actually quite competitive. So there's good testing going on even at a local level, and this is to put it in maybe Magic terms, like close to a Pro Tour level, maybe a little bit like slightly lower than a Pro Tour.
It's
it's lower than it's under a Pro Tour, but it's still like a high level, like a Grand Prix.
This is basically a GP. Yeah,
a GP. Well, I don't even know. There's not really even an equivalent. There kind of is in Magic, but a Grand Prix for all the Magic boomers out there are calling for Flesh and Blood, and I'm sure there's other equivalents as well. But high level event, really cool, unique prize, and this is the time that we're going to see, like you said, Cass, like the testing come through. We may see some brews. We may just see a refinement of Kaisa.
You'll see a lot of Kaisa. We'll say it now. You'll see a lot of Kaisa. You'll see some Yi, but I do think there is enough time that somebody could have found something else that's a good answer. It's possible. Like if a tournament was going to have it, I'm more think it would come here than it would have at any of those other previous tournaments where it just made so much sense to just stick to those kind of like, hey, this is a good deck, let's stay there. But there's been enough time that someone might have found something really exciting.
Yeah. I'm going to throw producer Sam a curveball here because there's another factor that can go into us seeing different decks for this tournament. I'm going to lead it up and see if they can guess what I'm going for. There we now have pictures of the best of prizing for the various for the various legends. So we may see some brews come out. There it is. Yep. See the Cadillac of producers right there. We've got the best of prizes. These are the metal 3D versions of the legends, which again, this is obviously a digital render of that. So we obviously can't really see the 3D part of it, but we can see that the background designs are much more prominent. They are overly shiny in the digital render, which makes me think that they're going to be super shiny and glossy and awesome in person. And they're made of metal, so that's pretty amazing as well.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this on a previous episode that they had announced these, especially because Houston was going to have them. But this is the debut, as we get it at the National Open. We're going to actually see these best of prizes come into effect. And I think a lot of players I've already heard talking about for Houston, they're like, well, I don't know. I mean, winning sounds exciting and trying to play that, but I also really like this deck that's not top tier, and I think I can be really good at it, so I might just go for the best of prizing instead. And these are very good players that theoretically could contend to win the title if they just kind of play best deck in the room, that are considering like, maybe I'll bring Yasuo, maybe I'll bring Jinx, because I like this deck, and I think that I want to get the best of prizing, and I think that's something that's really exciting for them. So we might see the same thing in China, as some players that are really strong and theoretically could just pick up Kaisa and have a good shot at winning the whole thing, might instead play the brew that they really enjoy and think, well, it's pretty good, maybe not winning good, but I can top 8, maybe I can place well with this anyway, and in doing so, also lock in the best of prizing as well. So it's a good call out, Blev, right? We talk about, hey, you've had this time to cook, you've had this time to try and figure things out. Maybe if you got like 90% of the way there and you think the deck's pretty good, pretty damn good choice, hey, maybe you go for the best of prizing and see if you can hit the matchups that you wanted to see and spike it anyway.
Yeah, and this is actually something that I hadn't really thought about until literally right now. So this may be a half-baked thought, but if these prizes, if the best of prizes are worth a significant amount of money on the secondary market, that goes from like I'm gonna go against the meta and play my pet deck and I'm gonna get a cool card for it, to like, it is like plus EV to try to get one of these best of prizes like outside of the prizing for the tournament, because obviously like the rich get richer, right? If you do well with
if you win with Kaisa, you get both, right?
If you win with Kaisa, first place is going to get both, right? Yeah, it's going to get the Kaisa one and the prizes. But if you are like, well, I'm feeling good on Teemo, like you can, if you top 8 with Teemo, you've got this best of prize as well. Which again, there's only going to be this original 16, right? And then we don't have the next event that they're going to happen at. We don't have the next event that they're going to happen at announced yet, so we don't really know exactly how many of these that there are going to be, but it is going to be single digits for sure.
Yeah, it won't be a lot.
It will not be a lot, right? So they're like, these are going to be rarer than the Misfortune promos, theoretically, right? Like at least after the first tournament, they will be. They will literally be. There was only going to be one of each. Yeah. So we could see these things go for potentially thousands of dollars.
It's actually like the funniest, and honestly, in my mind, almost one of the best ways that I've ever seen a game artificially make the meta less of one deck. Because
it's kind of artificial.
It's artificial in a balanced sense, right? It's like the game doesn't need the every deck to be balanced if people will play every deck anyway because they want to win these best of rewards. And this is not like saying that this was the intent with Riot. I think they just wanted a really cool award to people playing these decks. But the result that we've gotten out of this, theoretically, we'll see. But I agree with you. These are going to be worth thousands. I just think there's no way that these are not worth a lot of money and there is a level of EV to just trying to play a underrepresented deck and be the highest placing on it. That is going to make it so a lot of people will have those thoughts and increase the play rates on everything, which will decrease the play rate on the most played decks a little bit due to that. And I think it's very funny. And what it will do is it'll make spectating more exciting. There's these best of prizes that even when we're seeing, a Yasuo on stream or a Leona on stream that we think, hey, they're probably not going to win the tournament. There's still this excitement of, are they the best placing one though? Like, have they done enough here to lock that down? And especially if they're able to make top 8 and we know they've locked it in, it's this cool extra element. And I think a lot more people that are very, very good at the game will be trying to play these subpar, I guess, or is not suboptimal characters, and we'll get to see them on stream because they'll be winning, and we'll get to see these like really cool extra decks, and we'll avoid the Kaisa Yi bracket, at least for this set, right? Because that's what we have. We have a Kaisa Yi bracket, right, for this set. We'll avoid that Kaisa Yi bracket a little bit longer.
It's XO, that's the Kaisa Yi bracket.
Yeah, for a little bit, and that's okay, right? Like, again, this is a first set, whatever. Like, Spiritforged is around the corner already. The game's, we've got just a few months, but as tournaments have been so far, Kaisa Yi is dominant, but this will allow us to see a lot more stuff. I truly think that we'll see a lot more stuff kind of creep up.
This is actually, I did not expect this to actually turn into like a full-fledged topic that I'm actually thinking deep about, but if instead of it just being prizing, if somehow this was baked into the format of the tournament, right? I don't think anyone would be batting an eye about it. They'd be like, oh, well, if it said in the format, like, this doesn't really make logistical sense, so just go with me here. If the meta somehow with the format had to be 1/16 of each hero, right? Like if each legend had to be exactly 1/16 of the entire tournament, where like you sign up as Kaisa and like all the Kaisa slots sold out, all the Lee Sin
that sounds horrible. So continue.
No one would want to do this. Again, don't look at that part. Look at the part of like, it's part of the format. You're buying into this being part of the format, not just part of the prizing. And all of a sudden, like, no one bats an eye about the meta being different. Same for best of one. Like, best of one format is a little bit different. The meta is naturally a little bit different. No one bats an eye about at it. It's like, it's just a different format with a different meta. Even though it's not part of the actual format rules, the prizing is part of the entire tournament, and therefore we think will actually warp the meta, which is actually really awesome. And like you said, it is a really cool, whether it was intended or not, it's at the very least a very cool side effect for this best of prizing, with the prizes being an actual incentive, whether monetary or whatever. Like, it is going to impact the meta in some ways. And I think, like, after the first tournament, if we see the Yasuo medal sell for 5K, all of a sudden it's like, yeah, that's better than winning the tournament, Or so, like, you might as well go. Like, it is actually better to try to do that than win the tournament.
I think meta warping is probably a step too far, but it certainly will adjust the meta breakdown a little bit, right? Like, instead of 0 copies of some things, you'll see 5 or 6, which is sizable, right? Within the field, you're going to see some amount of people jumping onto this. Like, I still don't think we're going to see more than like 6 or 7 Garens at Houston or something, right? Out of 1,000+ people. And even that number might be
under 10,
that high.
It's under 10 Garens.
For some. Yes, I think for some. Yeah, I think for some it'll be under Houston. 10. Yeah, I think so.
Let's put it. You're saying under 10 Garens.
Under 10 Garens at Houston, yeah. Under 10 Garens at Houston.
I'm picking the over here. Chat, let us know
If you're under or over?
The comment section below. Are you over or under 10? That is the line that we've drawn here for Garens that register at the Houston regional qualifier, because I'm actually quite curious about this. I think that's a good number to look at, because I don't think if there was best of pricing that we would certainly
you would
not
see 0 or
10.
1, right? Like I think
we would see. I would definitely pick the under if there's no best of pricing.
I would do under 5 if it was no best of.
Under 5. Yeah. I would also pick under 5. So 10, I think, is a good number. If we see 11 Garens, that's too many. At least something to look at. That is too many. Yes, I agree. But also, if let's just say at minimum, we're making this up, obviously. Let's just say that any given one of the metal promos is worth $1,000. Well, do you think you can do better than 10 other people or 9 other people?
Well, so this is the other core
I think
of it,
I probably could.
This is the other core of it. Is it's like you now have the option to enter the Houston regional qualifier, or you can enter the same tournament, but you enter the side event called Best Garen in the Room, and you just try and win more games than any other Garen in this tournament.
It's not even a side event. It's like a side
bet in the event.
This is like a 2D creature trying to imagine the third dimension. This is what this is. It's like, it's not a side event. It's not the main event. It's like inside. It's an inner event. The event is the friends you made along the way while playing Garen.
Interstellar when he's in the bookcase, but it's in a tournament.
Spoilers.
You're in the bookcase.
Well, if you win that Garen, you will be feeling all right. Okay. Anyway, I think we've actually spent a lot more time on this, but I'm not even upset, because this was turned into, this was emerging gameplay of talking about.
Just last thing for the comment section. Let us know if you are going to Houston and entering with the intent of winning one of these, instead of entering just to like play the best deck. Like you're going with the intent as part of your deck registration. In your mind, you are saying, I want to win one of the metal cards. Let us know. Let us know which one you're doing as well, because I think it's just really interesting, because we have kind of a smaller sample size as far as people who are going, but I think some percentage of the field that's going probably listens to this podcast. Let us know if you are going to Houston and doing that, because I think that's like a really cool thing to see, is how many people who follow us are actually interested in just going after one of these metal cards.
Yeah. This is an element to an event that I have never seen before. The closest thing would be like the old Magic Invitational tournaments, and not even like that specifically, just in that it was a bigger tournament that had a lot of weird, like wacky sub games that you were playing. And this is obviously a less wacky and weird, but still has kind of a sub game that you're playing here in the actual event, and you're still trying to win. It's not the one thing that I will, you said last thing, I'm picking the actual last thing here.
No.
Okay, you can have the last thing after this. But the thing I like about this is that is not actually, it may be warping the meta a little bit, or changing the meta slightly, but it is not impacting competitive integrity. Right? No. It's not going to make people try to lose on purpose. It's not going to make, impact any of those sort of outside of game things other than the deck that you bring. So I'm overall super, super cool idea. Whoever came up with that deserves a high five, and I will give them a high five if they come up to us at SCG Con in Vegas. But Cass, okay, you can have your actual last word.
I don't have any last things. Right. Go next.
Okay, let's go next here. We have got some quite cool information that I was not expecting to get right now, but we have it. We've got the contents of the pre-release kits for Spiritforged, which is really awesome. I think a lot of feedback I've heard about the pre-releases, or I guess technically the release events for Origins, is that it's not, I guess it's not a pre-release. It's not really sealed. It's starter deck plus 2 packs by default, and there's not really a kit for it. It's just kind of, sell product. But we got actual kits here. And it says the Spiritforged pre-Rift event kit, which is just their fancy way of saying pre-release, contains everything you need to run a 16-player pre-release event. So the pre-event kit is what the store gets, and you get a player kit within that. So a 16 player pre-release event. Each of the 16 player pre-kits also includes 5 Spiritforged boosters, so players can crack and build decks structured around their pre-con champion. So each event kit, so this is the bigger thing that the store gets, has 16 pre-Rift player kits, some trade marketing materials, so stickers, posters, maybe promos, though they would probably specifically say promos. I would imagine maybe promos, but and 1 Spiritforged booster display or booster box for prize support. So that is really awesome to hear from a store side. Not every game for every event gives product for prizing support on as part of the kit. Really awesome that Riftbound is doing that. And then each player kit contains 1 mini pre-con, which has 15 cards, including a champion legend and a champion, 5 Spiritforged booster packs, and 1 pre-Rift promo card. Okay, there's the promo.
There you go. Yep.
So everything that you need to run a 16-player event is in the kit. This is awesome news for stores. It's awesome news for players. This is kind of similar to what you would expect to see if you're going to a Magic pre-release. The only difference being that mini pre-con, which does kind of address one of the things that we theorized about Limited, is that you can maybe build an illegal deck by accident or on purpose.
Yeah, it was more so concerned with draft, I guess, which still we don't have any rules for. But I like this a little bit more. I mean, I think like just classic sealed is really fun in the game. They could just do sealed in the future. You know, first set I kind of got why they didn't just jump right into sealed. I mean, I would have been fine with it. We had a whole discussion on that on an earlier pod episode, but I think this is a cool kind of middle ground, right? Where it's closer to like pure sealed. You've got 5 packs that you're going to be building your deck with, but it also kind of introduces you to the set in a way where if you play sealed, you might not play with a legend. You might not have like a champion. And I think it's way cooler to be like, hey, here's a new legend from our brand new set. Build around this one. And you build around it for your pre-release, essentially, is like, oh, that's cool. Because maybe you'll get Ornn at your pre-release, right? And you'll build around it and you're like, wow, I really like Ornn. I wasn't thinking about picking up Ornn when I got into this, but I really like Ornn. And this kind of leads you to maybe play some of the different legends in the set that you maybe wouldn't have initially. I know I find this a lot with like limited sets when I'm playing like Flesh and Blood is I'll draft something and it's like a hero that I wasn't even excited for at all. And I'll be like, wait, that was really fun. And then I might eventually play some constructed with it and really enjoy it and find that I actually like the hero a lot. And so I think that can be something that comes out of these pre-Rift kits for Riftbound. And I'm actually looking forward to it. I think one of the things for me is this time around with the actual launch of the game, I'm not that excited for launch events personally because it's just kind of the pre-con decks, right? This I would be really excited for. I actually like can't wait for the Spiritforged release where I get to go play with these. And I think that was a feeling I'm missing with Origins. Yeah. Even though I am so incredibly excited for the game and to go start opening packs and building decks and playing, I don't have that excitement for like a launch event that I would want. I want to feel excited for a launch event. I'm excited for launch, but not the launch events. This gets me excited to play Spiritforge when it releases. I agree 100%. The only thing that I'm really excited about for launch events is actually going to the store and seeing bomb players. I have done a few demo events at various stores around Scotland, and it has been super fun to teach the game to people and talk with people who are either excited about the game in general or who have known about the game and want to know more and are excited to play events. That's really awesome. But yeah, the form, if I'm just looking at the format itself, it's like pre-con plus a couple of packs. It's like, it is a fine compromise considering the circumstances. And again, we talked about it at length in another episode, so I won't go down that rabbit hole, but I am still excited for the event itself. Just like this, I'm going to be very, very excited to do. And I do think it is a good way. I'm fine with pre-release events being something that's not like, it doesn't need to be competitive testing. In fact, it shouldn't be competitive testing for a pre-release event. It should basically be, I tell people all the time, or I would tell people all the time for Magic, like, oh, I want to start playing Magic. What should I do? I would say, find out when your store's next pre-release is and go to that. It will be the best way to acquire cards, to learn about new cards, to be at the same level as everyone else that's playing. You literally can't bring a deck
You build it there. Everyone is at that same sort of level in terms of access to product for that specific event. Obviously, not everyone is at the same level. There are going to be people that know how to play better, but that's not the point. It's there to have fun. This does set you up to, it does give you sort of the guardrails to build your deck, right? Like if you open Ornn in this, you're probably going to play Ornn with you. If you know, with the mini, if your mini precon is Ornn, you're probably going to want to play Ornn and play around Ornn. But like advanced players are going to be like, oh, well, my Ornn mini precon stinks, but I opened up Azir. I guess I'm going to play, I'm going to build this awesome Azir deck or whatever that uses some Ornn cards. Spoiler alert, no idea what the domains for them are. So if those happen to be a match, that is purely by coincidence, not me spoiling information. So don't look any deeper into that. But TLDR, the pre-release kits are awesome. It's awesome to see, like, it took Magic a long, long time to get to the point where they were doing specific kits for pre-releases. For the longest time, it was just 6 packs of set, or actually in the old days, it was a tournament pack plus some packs, but only literal 90s kids remember what a tournament pack was in Magic. They did that for a long time, but it was basically a silly product, but it was what we used to do sealed and limited with back in the old days. Charmer would know what I'm talking about. And so would Pastry too, probably.
Just not me.
Really awesome. Yeah. It was, they probably got rid of tournament packs before you were born, Cass. I'm sorry. Anyway, let us know if you're, you don't even need to let us know. We know you're excited for that. That's awesome. How can you
Who
not?
isn't excited for Spiritforged and the pre-ripped kits?
It's
just sick.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. Don't let any Christmas songs tell you otherwise. Okay, Cass, I'm going to let you move us to the next segment here while I don't deafen everyone with my mic sounds.
All right. Well, the next thing that we're going to is going to be somebody actually has purchased more of the MF cards. We talked in the last week's episode about how the winner card went for $9,000. Somebody has picked up 4 of the misfortunes. I believe they're top 4 misfortunes, not winner misfortunes that were picked up. I didn't see the price that they paid for it, but there was a Reddit post that got some traction about this person buying the 4. And, Reddit has its opinions, and it seems like they were really upset that this guy bought 4 of the misfortune trophies from each of the events. I think this is a cool collection piece, right? This is pretty memorable. This is top 4 of the misfortunes in their plaques, 1 from each region, so you can see the different colors. I think that's a very cool collector item. The opinion of Reddit seems to be that buying a trophy, I guess, a prize card is weird and akin to stolen valor. And Blevins, I personally don't think I agree. I think that this is part of being a competitor, is actually wanting to be able to sell these to collectors that may want that shiny piece of history for their collection. So to me as a competitor, I'm like, awesome. I'm really glad that there are people out there that are interested in buying these, so that if I were to ever top 8 or win a tournament, there's a market for it, and I'd be looking forward to that. What are your thoughts?
You hit the nail on the head. It is. I do not equate this to stolen valor. Although I guess I kind of see. I almost see, if you don't really think about it too much, I can see the comparison being made where it's like, oh, you didn't win that trophy. Why do you want that trophy? Stolen valor has a lot of other implications that we don't need to go into because they're quite obvious, and it's a silly comparison to make. But I can see why people might think it's weird to buy a trophy. However, like you said, these are, when you look at it as you get as your trophy, you get an awesome collector item. All of a sudden, like, you just frame it differently in your mind, and it's not weird anymore. At least to me.
Yep.
One thing that Reddit really hates in general is people doing flexes, and flexing the fact that cards are worth money is a thing that I would say a vocal minority of people in card games really don't like, even if they're literally collector items. But that's a whole other can of worms that I don't want to open.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, like, don't yuck on other people's yums. Like, this person that bought these, like it is a flex, and that's great. They got it. They did it. I think it's a cool thing. It is one of those, we talked about it when we talked about the pricing for the number one misfortune. There are people that like to collect actual unique things or be the only person that has a collection of this thing or have the most of whatever. This is certainly, certainly documented, the only person that has
one of each
of those misfortune, one of each, which is really cool. It's a really cool, sort of piece of Riftbound history, which is awesome. And yeah, I think it's just a cool thing to me. And like, if you don't think it's cool, that's fine. You don't need to think it's cool. Don't yuck on other people's yums. That's what I think.
Or do in our comment section down below. You can let us know. No, I mean, actually do let us know what you think about people buying prize cards, or in this case, there's a slight difference in these coming in like a plaque where it looks kind of like a trophy. But I think that slight difference is incredibly minute personally, but let us know if you think differently, if you think it's weird to buy a prize card like this, or you think that there's something wrong with it, or if you also are somebody who really enjoys it so that I can put you in a Rolodex for the future when I win a card like this.
Yeah, I think the actual relevant thing you hit on, Cass, is that we're talking about the best of prizing and these promo cards, and like it being a driver that these collector pieces are worth money. Well, they're worth money because people want them. They're not worth money because they're rare inherently and because no one ever sells them. That's not how things work. If everyone that got if it was like character bound, when you won a prize, it was somehow tied to your person and you couldn't sell it, it would not be worth anything, right? That's not how that works. We're not in an RPG where your loot is tied to your character. So yeah, no, I think there's an inherent part of that ecosystem. Like you said, Cass, you're a living example of that. Having won prize cards, gold foils are a very commonly sold thing. And I never saw any pushback or really any sort of complaints of people selling the gold foils. It's almost like, yeah, that's why we're doing these things, is to supplement the prizing in a way that's not actually like a taxable cash exchange.
It's like very good for the company to be able to do it, because they spend very little to print these, and then the players actually still get to have a bigger prize, so the less cash
and the
prize
players
bought, so.
See the benefit of that. It's not LSS, as far as I know, isn't selling gold foils like that.
And so it's the same for Riot, right? They're not making money off of these promo prints, but they're making money in the sense that they're not putting that money into the prize pot. They're basically making they're having collectors put that money in the prize pot for the players by the players being able to sell those cards. So if they want, or you can keep it, but that's up to the player.
To me, that's a win for everybody. But let us know in the comment section what you think about that whole ecosystem and everything, because I think that is pretty cool. One last thing before we get to our mailbag section, we alluded to it a little bit earlier, but we did get some stats from the City Challenge Stage 1, Week 3. We got some top 8 stats for the various legends here in terms of distributions. Guys, I want to just sort of quickly take a look at this. This is sort of a snapshot before we get into release, at least in terms of best of one. So again, the caveat here is the City Challenges are best of one. Technically, the top 8, or maybe it's just the finals, are best of 3. So if you see these deck lists floating around, they will actually have sideboards. But
yes,
the majority of the event is played just straight up best of one. And other than that, it's just a relatively high level event. Big events, I believe that they are
128,
250. Okay, 128. Okay, so not massive, but also not small, and they are highly contested in terms of seats and registrants, right?
Yep, we had there was one, I believe Shanghai had over 700 people sign up for a 128 player tournament. Of course, lottery system. Then you have to lottery in and then try and play. Sorry, everybody. it's Kaisa. It's kind of just where the stats are. 40% of all the decks in top 8s in city challenges. This is best of 1. We're Kaisa. Good best of 1 character. Hard, you can bring in all your sideboard to try and beat Kaisa out the gates, but you might lose to other things, and it's a bit tough. And then from there, you're welcome, Dave. I didn't do anything personally, but Master Yi kind of falling off a little bit. Still the second most represented, but the numbers dipping. It does seem like Kaisa has finally kind of proven that, hey, the longer you work on Kaisa, the longer you kind of look at it, you can beat the Yis as well. They don't actually get to counter you too hard. So we'll see. This was another thing we talked about with the Shanghai National Open coming up. Maybe someone has figured it out and they haven't revealed it and they haven't shown everybody. I am aware of multiple testing groups that have secret tech right now. Does that mean that is actually going to answer Kaisa, and even those testing groups won't just play Kaisa themselves? No, it does not. But it just is the point that there are testing groups out there that are all working, and they've had kind of this month of really no tournaments, city challenges being a bit different. No major tournaments to work. And I just hope that we get to see a mix-up, but also, if we get to see some more great Kaisa gameplay, we've still gotten to see some really awesome matches, and the Kaisa decks have continued to evolve, and we still see this like time warp stuff. I've seen somebody win by casting 3 time warps in a row. I've seen a bunch of really crazy stuff going on. So I think we're in for a hell of a tournament, regardless of what happens. I don't know, Blevin, there weren't really any decks that were surprising, because we see once you get past those first 2 big numbers, and then you have Set and Victor kind of at 7 and 8, and then once you get past there, I mean, the numbers are so low that it's like basically it's so just irrelevant as far as how many copies there were, right? It's like, sure, 4 people made it on Teemo. Cool. And you could say 4 on any deck, and I'm really like, I mean, it's best of 1 city challenge. Like, it could make 4 people could have done it.
Yeah, I will say the only thing that really the 2 things that stick out to me are the next 2, the Victor and Set. So Victor, we saw in the minor tournaments, the best of 3 tournaments, Victor was horrific in terms of conversion, right? Like, really bad. Was not able to like under 3%. Was not able to convert to day 2, and certainly wasn't able to convert to top 8. Seeing actually being the 3rd most represented deck in top 8s is something, whether it's just best of 1 favoring being okay for Victor, or maybe there's different builds that or different strategies that are taking place here. Not quite sure. Maybe it's Master Yi coming down a bit, maybe makes Victor a little bit. I don't know. Actually, no, Victor should be pretty good against Master Yi in general. Anyway, a number of different factors putting Victor there. And then Set, again, Set has been around and prevalent and very good in the English meta for a while, but was not really at the same level in China. And seeing Set be number 4, I think going into this, I don't know that I would have guessed Set as the 4th deck. I probably would have guessed either Ari or Teemo.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Set actually almost double the amount of either of those 2. So that's worth calling out. Everything else, like you said, is either not enough results or not really super surprising. So
Hangzhou Set had picked up a lot of popularity in China though. So it's I agree with you based on just like the results that we'd seen previously. It's different to see it in the top 4, but at least the momentum for Set was definitely climbing within China.
And to see it still going, right? Like it's not just because it pops up in 1 week does not mean that it's going to continue. It could just be a flash in the pan and we never see it again. But it's stuck around and is a consistent performer, which I think is what we'll be keeping an eye on as time progresses. So just a little update there, as we are a bit tournament light in the calm before the storm of every single big event happening in a short period of time, including SCGCon Vegas, which will feature us, Turn'em Sideways, the whole Turn'em Sideways crew at SCGCon Vegas, streaming the Riftbound 10K on the 23rd. But we'll be there that whole weekend, maybe doing all sorts of content, setting up, and just generally chit-chatting with folks. So do not be shy. Come on by and come say hi. And I did not mean to rhyme there, but here we are.
Here we are.
That was Cass just looking, here we are.
Yeah, it's been
why though?
it's been 7 years. I don't know. I still put up with the guy.
It's true. Has it been? Okay. Anyway, I was like, it actually has been closer to 7 years than I realized. Anyway, we are going to move on to, of course, our favorite section here of the show. That is our mailbag here. Again, if you want to be featured on our mailbag section, leave your comments in the comment section of the YouTube video here on the Turn Sideways channel. This one comes from Jake Kassar 6554, who says, one thing I love about Magic is how many different ways to play there are. For example, I recently discovered Pai Gao, which, if you're unfamiliar with what Pai Gao Magic is, it is basically a way to play a small form game with a booster with one booster pack. I believe it's either one total booster pack or each player has a booster pack. I don't remember. But it's just another way to play a quick game of Magic, kind of like a pack battle. We'll eventually have draft here. Judge's Tower could be fun. And a pauper format works too when we have more cards. Is there any type of format that you'd love to see come in? We already know they're doing a Conquest side event at Houston, so they've already supported different things. Cass, is there any formats and different ways to play that you would really like to see come to Riftbound?
It's really funny because the normal one that I say when like a card game comes out and people ask this question is Two-Headed Giant. There's a reason I'm very excited for 2v2, right? Because to me, it's actually just like a better version of it's like a really good or better version of Two-Headed Giant. Right? It should be great. I think Conquest is cool. We talked about Conquest on a previous episode as well, where the general idea was in a physical card game, Conquest is a bit tough, having to have that many decks. But I do think for people just making content or playing a game of Conquest, I think it will be very fun to actually play Conquest. I think for me at this point, because I think the formats I'm most excited for are 2v2 and then of course just like competitive play are already existing. The one left that I'm really waiting for is draft. I love limited. I'm a big limited player. Sealed is usually actually what I have the most fun with over draft, but that's just because I like the very casual nature of just ripping the packs and like putting together the puzzle of what is my best deck and then playing that. But I also love draft because if you like limited, why would you not like draft? It's a lot more skill testing, I would say, than sealed as far as actually building your deck and having that actual draft portion of the game passing with your friends. And I can't wait to see what the rules are for draft when we actually get them. I think we've talked a lot about what they possibly could be. And I do think there's a draft format there that works. And the question just becomes, what does Riot want to do for that draft format? I think there's multiple ways that they can have it be successful. I know we've talked about getting an extra token that's like a 2-cost 1 might unit, just as a way to fill in case you have like an incomplete deck, right? Because Magic, you can just put in lands, of course, if you don't have playable cards. Always your cards are playable, right? But in like Flesh and Blood, you get cracked baubles, which suck, but they fill your deck if you don't have enough cards. And I think that Riftbound could maybe take a page out of Fab's book for this one to make sure that you have a legal card in your deck, but you just make it bad. That's the point, is it's a legal card, but it's bad. And I would hope to see something like that, or just an entirely different draft format that just works the way that the sealed rules work, right? But they just work in draft. And I'm sure Riot is capable of finding that. I hope we don't have to wait too long. I hope it's we get it maybe for Origins, but if not, at least for Spiritforged, I'd love to have draft by then.
Yeah, draft, we've talked about it a lot. It is not a secret that many of us are big fans of draft. That is almost exclusively how I enjoy Magic these days, is draft and sealed. So that goes without saying for me. One, and I'm not sure exactly what Judge's Tower is, but we have always played a game locally that we called either the box or we would call it spat, which is basically box of cards. It's somewhat curated, but basically anything can go in it for Magic. And the way that the game works is you take out a chunk of those cards, you put them in the middle, everyone draws from the same deck. You have 2 cards in your starting hand. And the rules of the game are you have infinite mana and you can only play one spell per turn. Those are the only rules of the game. And there's a lot of fun and interesting things that happen with those restrictions and I guess lack of restrictions with infinite mana, where things that draw you cards are good asterisk because you can only play one per turn, but that doesn't mean one per turn cycle. So instants and things with flash become really good because you can play them on your opponent's turn. Things with cycling that have extra abilities are really good because there's long story short, there's ways like that where you can tweak certain things that break the rules of the game in a way and have a fun casual game. That's always fun to like bring to an event, and you can explain the game in 5 seconds if people know how to play Magic, and all of a sudden you've got a fun thing. We also did a fun thing where we would have people, if you won the game, you would have to sign the card that you won with, and that would go in the game. So it was kind of like a legacy, like it was a fun thing to also go through and remember like people that we've played with at events that we don't really know or met one time, that was always fun. Another one is actually, I didn't think about this at all until I saw the Instagram post from Riftbound earlier today, which was about building your perfect arcane Riftbound deck. And it just went through and just listed out all of the cards that are, featured in Arcane, and one of the legends was Jinx and one of the legends was Victor. And I'm like, hold up, ignore all the domain restrictions and stuff. You can just have Jinx versus Victor, even though that doesn't really happen at all in Arcane, spoilers. But have Jinx versus Victor and just have all of the Jinx related cards and all the Victor related cards in another deck and fight them against each other. You could just have these like theme decks that don't follow the actual rules of deck building for Riftbound, but like put it together and see what happens. Like maybe that's why Hextech Ray, which is a Victor spell, is an Angie card. Well, Victor's not red, is not Fury, not Angie. So why is his spell Angie in the card game?
Who knows? There we go. Honestly, that sounds fun though. Maybe we just do that, Blev. Maybe we just play. We do the Arcane battle.
We should do that. We should do that. And then the last one, and I think this is one that because I printed out almost every single card, and I can basically already have it built. It's Cube Draft,
sure,
which is Cube's basically good. Which is not that different from regular draft when you only have one set. But I am going to be keeping a cube together. I'm going to be refining my cube design skills, which are currently at roughly 0. With Riftbound to keep a cube built for Riftbound, and we'll bring to events and stuff, and see how that works out. Maybe we can do cube sealed, cube draft. But cube is just amazing. It's like, I think besides Commander getting really powerful, the resurgence of cube has been a really cool thing for Magic to see more people getting into it and people really taking it seriously and having a lot of fun with it. So that's my answer. Great question from Jake. Let's move on to question number 2. This one is from ATAA Darius. Says, yeah, a review of the review video would be greatly appreciated. I don't know. Did it get 1,500 upvotes is the question. In that vein, I'm curious if you think the West gaining access to the set will create as large of a perception shift as the Chinese release had on the perceived power of the spoiler season analysis. Thanks for all your content. You guys make my insane morning commutes bearable. Well, I'm glad that we can make him bearable. I'm sorry that I'm probably not helping in that vein, being half of the podcast rather than just a third or a quarter normally. But yeah, this is actually a really great question, Cass. I'm curious what you think. Do we think that there's going to be another sort of readjustment of the perception of power with the release of cards in English, and even, to piggyback off of that, with these big events being played in English?
So I think that the massive influx of players, there's the amount of people who are already interacting with the game in the West, I think is very small compared to the number of players that will be interacting with it once it is released. I think it takes a very specific want and need to be in this niche hobby to really be interacting so much with it as much as we are and as much as many of you are prior to the game being out. So there's going to be a large increase of people, especially players that play a lot of other card games and are competitive grinders, and they'll see these tournaments and they'll want to look at Riftbound now that it's out, when they've maybe been busy with other tournaments and other games leading up to it, and they tend to be very good card gamers. And I think from there, they may be able to find some things that have been overlooked, or maybe at least the way that the deck is composed will be a little bit different. But I do not think that we will see a sizable meta shift coming through. That's just my prediction. I think that China has a lot of really strong players. They've kind of come to this conclusion of the Kaisa and the Yi. The Western online tournaments have come towards that conclusion. There's been some experimenting, but end of the day, I think that a lot of the power has been found in China. And so we're not going to have a huge difference in what that looks like outside of maybe a few edge cases where people find something that is strong to attack the meta, or just ways to further refine the already good decks.
Yeah. Is somewhat boring as that is, I mean, you're probably right, Cass. I don't think there's going to be a huge shift. There's certainly not going to be as big of a shift because we're not also still learning the game, right?
Yeah.
We as a community have leveled up. I do think that there's still a lot of room to grow in terms of refinement of play and refinement of deck building for sure. I do think that we will see tier 2 be more solidified. Tier 1.5, tier 2 be more solidified, and maybe even get closer to what tier 1 is. Again, I think Darius, like masterfully played and built Darius, is still way stronger than the results are perhaps yielding. And there's other decks too. I think that if more time and more reps have been put into it, there's a chance that we could see, different builds of Misfortune come up. We could see
Ari starting to look very good.
Ari has had a really a lot of resurgence here, or not a resurgence, but has sprouted up in a lot of different ways as sort of a counter deck. We've really not seen too much evolution of a lot of the other decks, I don't think, because again, there's not been the really ability. Like if you're not playing on TTS, sorry, just literally can't play. Obviously, we don't have cards yet, and there's not really been the stakes to incentivize someone to do this innovation. We talked about this on previous episodes, but there's not been a huge reason to come up with this cool meta breaker deck that is a different champion, a different legend. Again, with best of prizing, we may see that, and with the stakes are high in multiple ways. So I definitely think that we'll see some shifts, but again, it's not going to be this massive revelation of like, oh man, Leona was actually just the best deck in the format.
Yeah, I want to see if people get more creative with like battlefields and how they abuse sideboarding with battlefields, and it's something I've worked on, but I haven't had enough time. I've been working on a couple different projects with this as well, so I haven't really been able to dive in as much as I'd want. And I think with the game coming out, I will have a little bit more time fully into Riftbound. I know we've already been doing a lot, but getting even more involved in deck building and working with a couple of good players, and maybe there's some cool stuff that we get to uncover, because for me, we're doing a lot of coverage, especially with like Vegas coming up and doing coverage on it. For me, I'm trying to focus on broad scope, a lot of different decks, instead of just looking at like, okay, these are the picks for Houston and see what can be discovered. Right. And I think a lot of players will have that kind of approach as well when they first get the cards in hand, is like, what are all the options? Are these things beatable? And maybe we'll get some cool revelations from that. My bet is not too much craziness, but my hope is the opposite, is that we get a lot of really cool, unique finds, but I don't know how much there is to uncover. I know there's a lot in Riftbound in play and deck building still left to uncover, but I don't know if in Origins is when that will all happen. So
right. Jinx can beat Kaisa. Anyway, last question here is another really interesting one here. This one is from Samba P17. Says, hey guys, we have the keyword bird in the game, and as someone who usually plays a bird deck in Pokemon, I can't wait for this keyword to get more support. Which legend is the most likely to support birds in the future? I did not know that this was the case. That we
didn't know about the tags?
Like a bird.
No, we have a lot of tags.
Know about the birds. Well, I knew that there were tags. I didn't know that bird was specifically one.
Yeah, I guess maybe I didn't know that bird was one either, but they did a lot of really great future proofing.
Are we just getting trolled?
I didn't check. I don't know. There's a lot of tags. There's a lot of tags. I'm not probably even if we don't have bird in there, it might show up later, right? But like the point is
actually be really funny if it isn't in there, and this is just a complete troll question from like the Birdman, our arch podcast nemesis.
There's a lot. Is
this you, Birdman?
It is Birdman. It's
no.
What's the actor that played Birdman? Oh God,
Harvey Birdman, attorney at law. That's Stephen Colbert.
Not what I was going for, but yeah, that works.
I don't know. Wait, I don't. Are you talking about Big Bird?
Yeah. That's totally.
Wait, hold on. What are you talking about?
Oh my God! Wait, God damn it! Now I have to figure it. Now I have to find it. Michael Keaton starred in Birdman. It's a movie. You don't know this movie. You don't know what I'm talking about. That's fine.
I think the two things I suggested were more popular than whatever weird, obscure, non-Beetlejuice, non Batman, that McDonald's movie, Michael Keaton. Oh, it's Anivia. Okay, so the Birdman
played
is
by Michael Keaton. I don't know what Michael Keaton as Anivia. That's the
okay. I like it.
Yeah. That's what the Birdman film was about, I think. You don't have to check me on that. Okay, so to answer the question, and first off, what I was saying, Blev, is the keywords they have this amazing future proofing in the game in Origins with all of the keywords that they've added, and I guess bird is one of them. You could guess tags, Anivia would give, or tags, yeah. You could guess that Anivia would give support to birds, but that doesn't really track. Like, I don't see there's any reason that Anivia would have bird support. I think maybe something like Quinn with Valor being in tandem, or even Valor as a legend. There's nothing that says that legends must be champions, but I wonder if there's like Quinn Valor situation there. Other than that, I don't really think of anybody being specifically.
Oh, you're missing one. You're missing one that I'm surprised.
Are you thinking of Swain? Because I think Swain would not have anything to do with a bird tag.
He shoots crows at people.
Yeah, that's what he does.
Oh, Fiddlesticks, Crowstorm.
Yeah,
Crowstorm.
But I imagine printing Fiddlesticks unironically with some kind of bird synergy. I think
that one's free, Riot. That one's free.
I think the question, which legend is most likely to support birds in the future? I think probably none, but I think there could be cards that support birds in the future, and there might be legends that want to play birds, like Anivia, right? Your champion's going to be a bird. Quinn theoretically is going to have Valor as a bird. Swain's bird is not even a bird, it's demons, but they might have some kind of bird tag in the future on something potentially. But I could see Anivia having access to a card that helps birds, or Quinn having access to a card that helps birds, but I doubt any legend is going to be bird related. I'll even put it here now. I think we'll never get a legend that has bird support printed on the legend. I feel confident about that. Yeah.
I think that the Bandle City Mayor will somehow be involved with birds, and also will be coming out in set 8. You heard it here. This is my one spoiler. I'm using it now. 7 sets in advance. The Bandle City Mayor is a legend in set 8 of Riftbound.
And it actually won't have anything to do with birds, but they will use Michael Keaton's face for the face of the Bandle City Mayor. And it'll just be a very niche reference to the 2014 movie Birdman, where he gets the bird tag. Yeah, I think that's what'll happen.
Yep.
There you go.
I expected nothing else than the podcast that I was 50% of to go completely off the rails. This is why we have the other hosts here. But that has been our mailbag section. Again, if you want to be in a future episode, leave your comments on the YouTube video for this episode. They've been coming in hot. Some really great comments, really great discussions on there. It really does. And it also really does help us out if you leave comments and like and subscribe and all that stuff. And it's also going to help you to enter the giveaway for the Arcane set. It is in the description of this video. It is on all of the social media platforms for Turn 'em Sideways. There it is. Like, comment, subscribe, visit, follow, all those things. Do all that and potentially get yourself an Arcane box set promo. But that is going to be it for this week, Cass. It's been a pleasure here with the duo cast, but we'll be back to I'll actually soft tease. We've got a confirmation from a very, very special guest for next week. You're gonna have to guess who it's gonna be. But until then, for Casanova, for the rest of the Turn 'em Sideways crew, I've been Blevins. We'll see you next week.